It's the first Monday in June, which means it's time for a brand new episode of Monday Musings. Let's get started. Do you ever watch something and you don't expect like an emotional reaction out of it, but you end up getting one, and it's like as you're watching it, just things start clicking and start dawning on you, and it just, even if it's not related to what you're watching, it just kind of sparks something in you, and it's just like, hey, you know what? That's kind of connecting with how I feel at this moment, and kind of bringing things to the surface that you're not really consciously thinking of, but at the same time, it's obviously there in the forefront of your mind. And that kind of happened to me this morning as I'm recording this. I'm recording this Sunday night, or kind of really early Monday morning. Sunday morning I was watching this show called formerly known as on the WWE Network, and it was just a series. It takes a wrestler and chronicles their rise from like when they were a kid, as a wrestling fan, to their ultimate journey as a WWE superstar and that kind of thing. And I watched like 5 of them. I watched like Seth Rollins and Ruby Riott and Bailey, and I forget which others, but I watched a few. And some of the stories were similar in that they came from these really small towns. They were wrestling fans. They got into it. They loved it. They focused on it, and they achieved it. And I guess that's what kind of resonated with me. It was like these people all knew exactly what they wanted out of life, what they wanted to do, and they had one dream, one goal, and they worked towards it pretty much their entire life, and finally achieved it. And it got me thinking about things, and like through my life I've had a lot of different goals and a lot of different dreams, and I feel like pretty much my entire life my focus has been pulled between all these different things. And I don't know, I guess seeing these people with a singular focus and a singular goal kind of just spoke to me, and it's like, man, I guess what I'm thinking is, if I really want this one thing, then that's where my energy has to go. It has to all pour into this. I just noticed the shadow of me holding the phone. That's kind of funny in the background there. But yeah, so that's kind of what I was getting out of watching these, is that I feel like I have to pick something and stay in that lane. And it's like, why didn't I mean, I guess I knew this all along, and I'm not saying you can't do multiple things. There has to be that one thing that kind of drives you, right? And, when I was a teenager, it was art. And when I was in my 20s, it was music and writing. And, somewhere along the line, everything got jumbled, and I started pulling myself in 5 or 6 different directions, right? And that's how I end up here, kind of struggling to find my way a little bit. And even though, I'm focusing on writing and kind of building Last of a Press and all that stuff, I still feel myself pulled in different directions, and that's kind of been a constant struggle of mine. And watching that just kind of, I don't know, it kind of highlighted it, and it kind of put it in perspective for me. So it's really interesting to get that out of a show about some wrestlers, right? But, inspiration comes from various places, and usually at least when you least expect it. So that's what I got out of watching formerly known as on WWE Network. Go figure. Speaking of WWE, though, I watched NXT Takeover XXV this past Saturday. I didn't get to watch it live, but I watched it later in the night, and man, that was an awesome event. It was an awesome card. From top to bottom, I thought the matches were fantastic. The only complaint I have is in the main event. I think there were a little too many near miss spots and a little too many false finish spots. I think they overdid it a little bit. They were trying a little bit too hard. But overall, the action was very, very solid, and the storylines culminated in these great matches by some great superstars. So it was really cool to watch, and it's going to be interesting seeing NXT and AEW both kind of servicing similar audiences on different sides of the spectrum. I guess it's gonna be really interesting to see that. I've been seeing a lot of discussion about why doesn't Vince pay attention, Vince McMahon, owner of WWE, pay attention to NXT and that brand and make the main roster and all that stuff. And it's like, okay, I understand there's been a decline in ratings for Raw and SmackDown over the past few years. I understand that, but at the same time, I still feel like Vince understands that he has different segments of an audience that he is servicing through different brands. There are Raw loyalists, there are SmackDown loyalists, there are NXT loyalists, there are 205 Live loyalists, there's NXT UK loyalists. I feel like he's tapped in, well, him and the entire company have tapped in to the fact that they have this variety of audiences watching their product, and they give each one of them something a little bit different. So yeah, sure, if you're a big NXT fan, you're going to want NXT type action on Raw, but the truth is, a lot of the NXT people that get called up, they don't get over with the fans of Raw and SmackDown. It just doesn't happen. Some of them do, like obviously the Shield got over. A lot of the women got over, but there are some people that just, they don't quite click with the core WWE audience or those characters. They have to shift and change a little bit to resonate with them. Like Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews was huge in NXT, gets called to the main roster, and everybody's just like, the Viking Raiders or whatever you want to call them at this point. They were there for like a couple of weeks, and then you haven't seen them on TV since, because NXT services a certain kind of fan, and so does Raw, and so does SmackDown, and so on and so forth. So that's my thought on it. So watch the brand that you want, and I understand that there are some superstars that you want to watch, like Seth Rollins and AJ Styles, Ricochet, Aleister Black, people like that, that you know from NXT or from other places, and they're kind of getting the main roster storyline treatment kind of thing. And I understand the frustration with that, but at the same time, it's like, that's their biggest audience, is that audience. So you just kind of have to accept it for what it is and seek out alternatives like AEW. So there you go. But yeah, those are my thoughts on things this week. I should be back on Frontline Live this Tuesday, tomorrow night. So tune in for that. A lot of big books this week. So going to be some interesting discussion of the end of Heroes in Crisis. I'll save it for that, and so on and so forth. So, but that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Monday Musings. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe notification bell so you get updates on all the content going up to this channel. And you can follow me at Brant Fowler on Facebook and Twitter, at Last Emperor Press on Instagram. Until next time, thanks for watching. Be good. Bye.